Hello, and welcome to the Rose Foundation for Communities and the Environment's How to Apply webinar for the Central Coast Community-Based Water Quality Grants Program. This grants program is made possible thanks to the Central Coast California Regional Water Quality Control Board, which was involved in litigation related to a Clean Water Act violation and received a settlement that they decided to use that settlement in part to offer this fund for water quality projects in the Central Coast region. They're being assisted on this fund by the Bay Foundation of Morro Bay, and this fund is being run by the Rose Foundation for Communities and the Environment. We at the Rose Foundation have been running open environmental grant cycles like this for 30 years now, which is why the Central Coast Water Quality Control Board decided to work with us. So who are we at the Rose Foundation? You may interact with Jodine Isaacs, who's the Mitigation Funds Director and oversees these sorts of Clean Water Act funds. My name is Gabriel Rosenstein. I'm the Grants Administration and Contracts Lead, and I'm supporting this fund in a variety of ways, including meeting with some of the interested applicants. And Timothy Bell is a program officer at the Rose Foundation, and he is also going to be meeting with some potential applicants to this fund. This fund also has a funding board composed of volunteer members who will help us make funding decisions based on the grant requests. You can see their names and pictures here, and we have full bios of all of our volunteer funding board members on our website, but all of them have some expertise with water issues, as well as some experience and knowledge about the Central Coast region. So this fund will only be making grants within the Central Coast Regional Water Quality Control Board's area, which is Region 3 on this map here. You can see that this region includes Santa Cruz County, San Benito County, Monterey, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara counties, as well as the southern portion of Santa Clara County and small portions of San Mateo, Kern, and Ventura counties. There is a version that you can zoom into on the Water Quality Control Board website. We have a link to that on our website where you likely found this video through. This fund seeks to make grants for projects that support the following priority topic areas: the human right to water, environmental justice and local environmental justice capacity, water quality impacts of climate change, drought-related water supply resiliency projects, climate adaptation and mitigation projects that relate to water supply, sustainable drinking water or wastewater treatment solutions, sustainable groundwater management strategies, and projects providing benefits to underrepresented communities. There are some additional, more specific project types that the Water Quality Control Board has flagged below if you wish to review those. Now, we do not expect any project to touch on all of these priority areas. If your project touches on just one of them, you are eligible to apply for this fund. However, projects that address multiple priority areas will be prioritized and will receive higher score in our application review process. There'll be more information about that later. Fund eligibility. Eligible applicants are tax-exempt organizations such as 501c3 nonprofits, federally recognized Indian tribes, state Indian tribes, and public agencies that do work related to one of the priority topics. Prohibited applicants include private entities, as well as applicants associated with an enforcement action or on the excluded parties list. There are two grant tracks for this fund. The large grant track is for funding requests of up to $200,000. Grant applicants in this category are likely going to be the government agencies and the larger organizations. Potentially groups doing more technical projects will be applying for the large grant track. Large grant track applicants are required to provide documentation of at least 25% of match funding, and they also are expected to submit more complete applications that will be subject to more rigorous review. The small grant track is for funding requests of up to $50,000. If you're a small community-based organization, this is likely the grant track that you will be applying to, and the application is a little less rigorous. Applications for this fund are due at 5 p.m. Pacific time on June 28th, 2024. We will only accept applications that are submitted in our grants portal that fill out the specific form for this fund. I'm going to walk you through that now. So when you go to our grants portal, it'll ask you to log on. If you've applied for a Rose Foundation grant in the past, you can just use your email address or password to access your account. If you don't remember your password, you can use the forgot your password link. And if you've never applied for a grant before, you can create a new account. Now, when I say you've never applied for a grant before, I mean your organization. Because when you create a new account, it'll ask you to set up your organization in our system. Provide the organization name, the tax ID, website, address, as well as your information as the user, information for your executive officer, or whoever will be signing an eventual grant contract should your project be awarded a grant. If you try to make an account and your tax ID number is already in our system, you'll get an error message. That likely means a past employee of your organization did apply for a grant and your organization is in our system. If you get this error message, you should reach out to us and then we can set up a new user on your organization's account. The only caveat to that is if you are a fiscally sponsored project and you are 100% confident that your fiscally sponsored project has not applied to the Rose Foundation for a grant before, because your fiscal sponsor might be in our system for another project. So in that case, you could carry on with the application creation process. But if in doubt, please do reach out to us and we can help let you know if your organization's in our system or not and set you up with an account. So after doing that, you'll log in, and I'm going to log in now as an applicant. That's the wrong password. One moment here. Okay. So you can see here, takes you to a home screen and it'll show any active grant requests that you have with the Rose Foundation. You probably won't see any if you haven't started applying for this fund yet, but after you've started your application, you'll see your draft application on this page. And after you submitted your application, you'll see the submitted application and any status updates on this page as well. You can also see a previous grant request from your organization. You go to the apply button on the top of the screen, you can then access the grant in question. You'll see all of our open grant processes. You'll go to the Central Coast one and you'll click apply. So one thing that some applicants find helpful, instead of looking at all the application questions here, you can also generate a PDF question list. And this way you can print it out or you can copy questions into a Word document to work from there. Some people prefer to work this way. But you can also just work as you go within our system and within the application here. Our system will save your answers as you type every 100 characters whenever you click out of a question. You can also save your application at the bottom of the screen here, which we encourage you to do whenever you leave the page. But it is no problem for you to start filling out the application, save, leave for a bit, come back another day, keep working on it, and then submit it at the bottom here. So to walk through the application, we have some tips for you at the top. Then we have some general information. Most of these questions we ask all of our grantees, the short project summary, there's the grant track, the amount requested, information about the project, start date, geography, project activities, issue areas, etc. This next section aligns with the project eligibility and priority criteria. So it's your opportunity to let us know which priority criteria your project aligns with. And there are several options here. The grant request section is the meat of the application, the bulk of it here, where there are these longer answer text questions where you can really tell us what you're going to get up to. So you'll outline the narrative of your project, summary of the organization, scope of work, where you can outline the specific activities. you'll undertake with the grant funds and the timeline, how you will evaluate this project, what outcomes you're hoping to achieve. And then here, there's some information about the community served that we ask all of our applicants, and some fairly detailed financial information about the project budget, place for you to give us information about your funding match, the organization budget, an expense statement or balance sheet. And then we ask for some information about the people at your organization, leadership demographics, number of staff, volunteers, and board. Here's a place for you to upload letters of community support, which are one is required and others are welcome as well. And that's essentially it. So to help guide this process of submitting the application, we've also published the ranking and selection criteria, so you can see how we will be grading the applications. So as mentioned, this section aligns with the eligibility and ranking section of the application. And depending on, you'll get 2 points for whichever issue areas your project addresses. The project strength section is more of a holistic look at your application. We will look at different questions to decide how to score applications in these areas. Then there is also the required project components. So applications will be scored based on how they fill out these specific sections of the application. Most of them are in the grant request portion, but then the budget and financials, letters of community support, funding match, etc. So we hope that this makes the process of applying a little more straightforward and transparent for you all. So some tips as you're applying. One should review the online application form well in advance of the due date. You can work on the form directly in our web portal. As I said, it saves your answers automatically, or download it and work outside the portal. A clear work plan is key. It should outline specific activities that you will undertake to reach your goals and provide a timeline for these activities to the degree you are able. That said, longer isn't always better. Answer application questions clearly, but there's no need to restate information you provided in other sections. You can always point us to a previous section if you want to make sure we catch that you've answered a question elsewhere. Be sure to point out community partnerships and benefits. Remember, there is a letter of community support that is required. But this is a key part of an application, how well you're working with the community. Project budgets must specifically call out what line items the grant request will be spent on. And lastly, please reach out with questions. We are here for you. Not only can you email us at grants@rosefdn.org, which is listed on our website. You can also schedule 15-minute meetings with a Rose Foundation staff member directly on our website, where we can walk through the project that you're hoping to propose and talk about how well it aligns with the fund criteria, if there are any specific things you should make sure to include in your application, that sort of thing. Some frequently asked questions. Can my project address ground or drinking water? The answer is yes. Like our California Watershed Protection Fund, which is limited to surface water projects, this fund can address surface, ground, or drinking water. What kind of projects are likely to get funded? The project's overall strategic value, feasibility, equitable outcomes, and your organization's capacity to do the project are the most important components of the assessment process. Additionally, projects that include more than one of the priority topic areas identified in previous slide will rate higher. How should I decide which grant track to apply to? What is the difference in requirements? Small community-based organizations should apply to the small grant track, while public agencies and larger organizations should apply to the large track. The applications for both tracks are similar, but we expect much more detail for large track projects. Large track projects must also show matching funds of 25% of the grant request and report any consultants or contractors under consideration. That said, if you are unsure which to apply to, reach out to us and we can talk through it a little bit. So thank you for listening to this webinar. We are really looking forward to receiving all of your applications and learning about all the great work that's happening to improve water quality and move environmental justice forward on the Central Coast. Thank you so much and good luck.